A few months ago, my friend Michael, who's 74, had what he called just a bad morning. He said he felt dizzy when getting out of bed, his right hand was trembling a little, and for a few seconds, he couldn't remember his zip code. He brushed it off at first, saying maybe it was low blood sugar, maybe poor sleep, but I urged him to see a doctor anyway. The results revealed it wasn't just a bad morning. It was a mini stroke, a warning sign that something worse could be coming. Michael eats well, he walks every afternoon, and he even cut back on salt and watches his blood pressure. So how does someone doing everything right still end up with a stroke warning? Here's the hard truth I've learned after years of studying senior health. Doing the right things isn't off your body is missing what it needs inside. I'm talking about vitamins. Certain vitamins, ones you may never think about, play a critical role in stroke prevention. They support healthy blood flow, they lower silent inflammation, and they protect the delicate blood vessels that feed your brain. Yet, most seniors don't get enough of them, not because they don't care, but because no one ever told them how much these little nutrients matter. That's why I'm making this video, because if you're over 60 and you felt a little off lately, even if it's just tired legs, brain fog, or the occasional dizzy spell, it's worth knowing what your body might be missing. Today, I'll share with you 6 essential vitamins that research shows can help lower stroke risk, and simple, sightly ways to get them from the foods you already enjoy. No hype, no fear, just small changes that could protect your brain and your life. Let's begin. 1. Vitamin D, the silent shield against stroke and cancer. When Michael's doc told him he held vitamin D, he shrugged. I thought that was just for bones. But here's the real story. Vitamin D is one of the most powerful defenders of your brain and immune system, especially as you age. Research from Johns Hopkins shows that seniors with low vitamin D levels have a 64% higher risk of stroke, because this vitamin doesn't just support your bones. It also lowers silent inflammation inside blood vessels, helps regulate blood pressure, and prevents calcium buildup in your arteries. But that's not all. Vitamin D also plays a quiet, powerful role in cancer prevention. A large 2022 review found that older adults with steady vitamin D levels had 20 to 30% lower risk like colorectal and breast cancer. It works by helping your immune system spot abnormal cells early, slowing tumor growth, and making your body less walking place for cancer to take hold. The problem is, most older adults don't get enough of it, mainly because we spend more time indoors, and aging doesn't make vitamin D from sunlight as well as it used to. Here's how to get it naturally and safely. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines, just 2 servings a week. They difference egg yolks, especially from pasture-raised hens. Fortified milks, including dairy and plant-based options. Look for vitamin D added UV-exposed mushrooms, lettuce or maytake. And if needed, a supplement of 800 to 2,000 U per day of vitamin D3 taken with a meal that includes healthy fat, live oil, or avocado to boost absorption. Michael now takes his vitamin D with breakfast alongside a boiled egg, whole grain toast, and a morning walk. Is nothing fancy, just consistency. But before you start, here are important safety notes just for seniors. If you have kidney disease, check with your doctor. Vitamin D can affect calcium levels, which may strain your kidneys. If you've had high calcium levels in the blood, such as from thyroid issues, avoid supplements without a doctor's guidance. Certain medications like thiazide diuretics or steroids can interact with vitamin D, either raising cals too much or blocking absorption. If you're already taking calcium pills, be cautious. Too much combined with vitamin D may increase the kidney stones or artery calcification. And most importantly, don't guess your levels. A quick blood test, 25-hydroxy-vitamin D, can show exactly what your body needs, nothing more, nothing less. Bottom line, vitamin D isn't a miracle, but it's one of the most affordable, effective, and often overlooked tools for keeping your brain sharp, your blood flowing, and your immune system strong. And sometimes that quiet kind of help is the kind that protects you the most. 2. Vitamin B12, the brain-saving vitamin that quietly slips away with age. After Michael's mini-stroke, his doctor ran a full panel of tests. Everything looked okay until they checked his vitamin B12. It was low, Not dangerously low but just enough to raise concern. And here's why that matters. Vitamin B12 is essential for keeping your brain sharp, your blood healthy, and your nervous system running smoothly. Low levels can quietly damage the protective coating around your nerves, leading to memory loss, confusion, balance problems, and even stroke. Why B12 matters so much after 16. As we age, our stomachs produce less stomach acid, which makes it harder to B12 from food. That means even if you eat well, you can still become deficient without realizing it, and B12 deficiency often causes other problems: brain fog, fatigue, numbness, or tingling in the hands and feet, feeling unsteady while walking. But here's the real danger: B12 helps break down a substance in your blood called homocysteine. When B12 is too low, homocysteine builds up, quietly damaging your arteries from the inside, and high homocysteine leads to a much greater risk of stroke and dementia. That's why even mild B12 deficiency can lead to big consequences over time, especially for seniors. Best sources of B12 for seniors: animal-based foods are your top source. Beef, liver, salmon and tuna, and especially the yolk, Greek yogurt, and dairy products. Many breakfast cereals are fortified with B12. Check the label if you're not a big meat eater. If you're vegetarian or have trouble absorbing nutrients, supplements may be necessary. How to supplement smartly: most seniors over 60 do well with 250 to 500 micrograms of B12 per day, either tablet or a weekly higher dose option. Look for methylcobalamin form. It's easier for aging bodies to absorb than cyanocobalamin. It can be taken with or without food. For those with serious absorption issues, your doctor may recommend B12 injections or sublingual drops. Michael now takes a small melt-in-your-mouth B12 tablet every morning. Simple, no fuss, no side cautious. Although B12 is water-soluble, your body flushes out what it doesn't need. There are still a few important notes. If you have kidney disease, avoid mega doses unless prescribed. Very high B12 may build up and burden weak kidneys. If you take medications like metformin for diabetes or long-term antacids, ask your doctor to check you. These drugs can block absorption. If you've had unexplained memory loss, tingling, or mood changes, a B12 test might uncover something your regular checkups missed. The takeaway: vitamin B12 is like a quiet electrician inside your body, keeping your nerves connected and your brain safe. But after 60, it's easy to fall behind on this essential nutrient without any obvious signs at first. So don't wait for the symptoms to speak up. Check your levels, add it to your morning routine, and give your brain the fuel it needs to stay strong. 3. Vitamin E, the natural shield that keeps your blood flowing and your brain protected. Michael once asked me, if I'm eating right and staying active, why do I still feel tightness in my chest? Sons, why do my hands get cold so easily? It was a good question, and one I've heard many times from older adults. The answer often points to one thing: poor blood flow, and one of the most overlooked nutrients that helps keep blood moving freely is vitamin E. Why vitamin E matters for stroke prevention: vitamin E is as a fat-soluble antioxidant, meaning it helps stable molecules that damage cells and blood vessels. It protects the delicate lining of your arteries. It helps reduce inflammation throughout the body. And most importantly for stroke prevention, it reduces the clumping of blood platelets, which means fewer dangerous clots forming in the brain. In simple terms, vitamin E keeps your blood thin, your vessels clear, and your brain protected. One study published in Neurology found that older adults with higher levels of vitamin E had a lower risk of ischemic stroke, the kind caused by blocked blood flow. Where to get it: from your meals. Unlike some vitamins that require pills, vitamin E is easy to get from nowhere to look. Here are a few excellent senior-friendly sources: almonds, a small handful, about 23 nuts, covers nearly your daily needs. Sunflower seeds, great sprinkled on oatmeal or yogurt. Spinach and Swiss chard cooked with a little olive oil for better absorption. Avocados, rich, creamy, and healthy fats that carry vitamin E into your cells. Extra virgin olive oil, drizzle it over vegetables or toast. Tip: vitamin E works best when paired with fat, so always eat it alongside nuts, oils, or eggs. How much should seniors take? Most adults over 60 need about 15 milligrams or 22.5 international units of vitamin E per day. You can usually reach that through food alone, But if you do take a supplement, choose a natural form, not the synthetic kind, DL-alpha. Avoid megadoses over 400 U per day, especially if you're already on blood thinners. Important warnings for older adults: vitamin E is powerful, but too much can backfire, especially in seniors with certain conditions. Be cautious if you take anticoagulants like warfarin or aspirin. Vitamin E may increase the risk of bleeding. A bleeding disorder. High doses can thin the blood further. You're planning surgery. It's recommended to stop high-dose supplements at least 2 weeks before. Also avoid combining high doses of vitamin E with fish oil capsules, ginkgo biloba, or other supplements that thin the blood. Instead of guessing, talk to your doctor or pharmacist, especially if you take multiple medications. Bottom line, vitamin E is like a silent guardian, protecting your blood vessels, calming inflammation, and keeping clots from sneaking up on your brain. It doesn't need to come in a bottle. With the right foods, it can be part of your everyday plate. And with playing habits, it can be part of your long healthy life. 4. Vitamin C, the vascular healer that rebuilds and regulates from the inside out. When we think of vitamin C, we often picture oranges, colds, or a glass of juice on a winter morning, but for those concerned about stroke, high blood pressure, or artery damage, vitamin C does something far more important. It's not just for sniffles. It's a rebuilding vitamin, one that helps heal the very lining of your blood vessels. How vitamin C protects your brain and heart. Every time your heart beats, blood rushes through over 60,000 miles of vessels in your body, and just like pipes in an old house, those vessels wear down with age. Stress, sugar, high blood pressure, and inflammation chip away at the inner walls, making them rough, stiff, and prone to clots. Here's where vitamin C shines. It helps produce collagen, the protein that keeps your arteries strong. It acts as a powerful antioxidant, clearing out free radicals that cause vessel damage, and it improves nitric oxide function, which relaxes and lowers blood pressure naturally. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that seniors with higher vitamin C attained better blood pressure control and reduced stroke risk even without medication. Best natural sources for older adults. The great thing about vitamin C is it's abundant and fresh. Color food you know and love. Try adding bell peppers. Red and yellow ones are packed with C kiwi. Just one delivers more than a day's strawberries. Sweet, soft, and gentle on aging teeth. Broccoli. Lightly steamed to preserve nutrioranges or in grapefruit, but in moderation if you're on blood pressure meds. Tip: eat these raw or lightly cooked since vitamin C breaks down with high heat. How much do you need? For most seniors, 75 to 90 ml per day is plenty. That's about the amount in one orange plus a handful of oranges, or half a red bell pepper plus one kiwi. If using supplements, look for a gentle release or buffered form like calcium ascorbate to avoid stomach acid. Caution: for certain health conditions, vitamin C is water soluble, so most excess is flushed out. But there are still a few things to keep in mind. If you have kidney stones, especially oxalate stones, high doses over 1,000 mg per day may raise your risk. If you have hemochromatosis, iron overload disorder, vitamin C can increase iron absorption. Check with your doctor. If you're undergoing chemotherapy or radiation, large doses may interfere with treatment. Always consult your oncologist. Also, vitamin C from food is always safer and more balanced than large dose pills. When in doubt, eat the rainbow, not the capsule. Final thought: vitamin C is like the handyman of your circulatory system, quietly patching, sealing, and socking inner walls that keep your blood flowing strong. It doesn't need to come in fancy packaging, just fresh produce and a daily habit of choosing color on your plate. 5. Vitamin B6. The unsung hero that calms your heart and clears your arteries. Some vitamins get all the attention, like D, C, or E, but vitamin B6, it quietly works in the background. Heart steady, your blood vessels clean, and your brain chemistry balanced. For seniors, it may be one of the most underappreciated keys to stroke prevention. Why B6 matters more after 60 as we age. One of the lesser-known stroke risks is something called homocysteine, an amino acid that builds up in your blood when your body can't process it properly. High levels of homocysteine are like sandpaper inside your arteries, causing damage, thickening, and narrowing of the blood vessels over time. That's where B6 comes in. Together with B12 and folate, vitamin B6 helps your body safely break down and use safe holstein before it becomes a threat. In fact, a 2010 study in Stroke, a journal of cerebral circulation, found that adults with low B6 levels had a significantly higher risk of stroke, especially ischemic types, but B6 doesn't stop there. It also supports brain function by helping your body make serotonin and dopamine, heart rhythm by regulating glucose signals in your nervous system, and even immune strength, which weakens naturally with age. Where to get B6 from? Real food. Luckily, B6 is easy to find in everyday senior-friendly foods: bananas, soft, portable, and heart-healthy chicken, breast or turkey, lean protein that's easy to cook and digest, sweet potatoes, rich in fiber and good for blood sugar, 2 spinach and leafy greens, especially when sauteed of oil, whole grain cereals and oats. Just 1 banana, plus a small serving of chicken or turkey can give you half your daily B6 needs. How much do adults over 60 should aim for? 1.5 to 0.7 milligrams of B6 per day. Most people can get that through diet alone, but if appetite is low or digestion is weak, a low-dose supplement or 10 milligrams is usually safe and effective. Avoid mega-dose B-complex pills unless directed by your doctor. More isn't better. It can irritate nerves at high doses over time. Who should be cautious? If you have kidney disease, B6 levels may drop too low. Your doctor may recommend monitoring. If you take medications like isoniazid for TB, hydralazine for blood pressure, or birth control pill, fear it with B6 and cause deficiency over time. If you have unexplained numbness, tingling, or nerve pain, a B6 blood test may reveal the missing link, but high if it does also cause nerve issues, so balance is key. Final thought. Vitamin B6 doesn't come with hype or headlines, but it's one of the quiet architects of healthy aging, protecting your brain, easing the strain on your heart, and scrubbing away the damage that builds up over time. Just one more piece in your body's defense system, working not loudly but faithfully. 6. Vitamin K2, the traffic cop that keeps calcium in your bones, not your arteries. Michael thought he was doing everything right. He took calcium for his bones, vitamin D for absorption, and made sure to walk every day. But he still asked me if I'm doing all this for my health. Why do I sometimes feel tightness in my chest or shortness of breath when climbing stairs? I asked him one simple question: are you getting vitamin K2? He had never heard of it, and he's not alone. Why vitamin K2 is essential after 60. Most people know about vitamin K1. It helps your blood clot. But Vitamin does something entirely different. It tells your body where to put calcium. Without K2, calcium from food or supplements can drift into the wrong places. Your arteries, your even soft tissues, instead of staying in your bones and teeth. And that's dangerous. Calcium deposits in arteries are like concrete. They stiffen your blood vessels, narrow your circulation, and sharply increase your risk of heart attack or stroke. A landmark study in thrombosis and hemostasis found that higher intake of K2 was associated with up-to-toe-shaped arterial calcification and cardiovascular death in older adults. K2's special role in stroke prevention. K2 activates 2 important proteins: osteocalcium binds help to your bones, and matrix GLA protein MGP, which blocks calcium from hardening your arteries. Without enough K2, these proteins stay inactive, and when they're inactive, calcium goes rogue. Best food sources of vitamin K2. Here's where it gets tricky. K2 isn't found in most typical Western diets. It is present in a few key foods. Natto, a fermented soybean dish common in Japan. It's the richest natural source, but the strong taste and texture may not appeal to everyone. Egg yolks, especially from pasture-raised hens. Soft cheeses like brie and Gouda, liver and grass-fed meats, fermented foods like sauerkraut and kefir in smaller amounts. For seniors who don't eat fermented foods regularly, a supplement might be worth considering. Safe dosage and how to use it. Look for MK7, the long-acting form of 2, ideally 90 to 180 micrograms per day. Take it with your main meal, preferably one that contains fat like olive oil or eggs to improve absorption. If you're already taking vitamin D or calcium, K2 helps balance and direct them properly. Caution: who should speak to their doctor first. If you're taking blood thinners like warfarin, talk to you. Increasing K2 it may affect how your medication works. If you have a history of vascular calcification, K2 could help, but should be introduced under supervision. If you're on a strict low-fat or low-cholesterol diet, absorption may be reduced. Consider adjusting food choices accordingly. Final word, vitamin K2 doesn't get the spotlight, but it might be the missing puzzle piece in your heart and brain health. It doesn't add more calcium. It simply tells your body what to do with the calcium you already have. That small act of redirection, it could mean stronger bones, clearer arteries, and a brain that stays fully powered well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. If you've made it to this point in the video, thank you truly, because it means you care about your health, your future, and the small steps that make a big difference over time. These 6 vitamins we talked about today, they're not just nutrients on a label. They're part of a long-term defense system, helping you stay clear-headed, steady on your feet, and strong in your heart. And the best part is you don't need fancy products, just the right knowledge, a little consistency, and meals that work with your body, not against it. If you found this video helpful, I invite you to do one simple thing: subscribe to our channel. We share practical science-backed advice designed specifically for older adults, from what to eat to how to add daily habits that keep you sharp, safe, and strong. And if you know someone, a parent, a partner, a friend who could use this information, please share. Being healthy after 60 isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things at the right time together. Until next time, take care of yourself and stay well.